For a long time, I've tried to promote the work of other creators that I think are fantastic, that I think need an eye. And a few months ago, I think it was a few months ago now, I talked about Garrison Hayes. You should go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to his channel. You won't be disappointed. But Garrison has written a kid's book that I think that you should go get like I got. It is fantastic. It's about Juneteenth, which is a brand new, as of 2021, federal holiday recognized by the United States government. And this book tells the tale of what Juneteenth is, what it represents. And I think that it is, in the world that we live in with such divisive action on the part of conservatives to try to suppress what actual history is, there's no better time to support, one, a creator and an author and an individual who wants to make the world a better place, but also enrich the lives of children in your lives and their brains, keeping them apprised of actual history. I'll put a link below. It's not an affiliate link. I don't make anything off of this. Just support somebody who's doing good work, and you can get something fantastic in return. Let's talk a little bit about somebody who is the opposite of these things, is not looking out to make our world a better place. In fact, just trying to self-aggrandize and chase clout time after time after time, day after day after day, event after event, and now congressional debate after congressional debate. Lauren Boebert had her debate, her primary debate over the weekend with a bunch of other Republicans, a bunch of other radicals. And when you appear to be the most radical on stage with a group of radicals, it should tell you something. I've got a couple of clips here. One will address her and her lies about her outing at the theater that night watching the musical Beetlejuice. I have far less interest in this particular answer, but for me it's telling. Some of this is just gossip and politics, and I'm less interested in that than I am the substance of her answers on two other questions. But I think it does go to where her mind is, where her arrogance is, where her hubris lies, relative to not being, she doesn't feel compelled to answer about this particular incident. In fact, after she says in her answer to this question that she has apologized, she's gone on an apology tour, then she pivots and starts blaming the anchor, the person asking the questions, which flies in the face of what she just previously said, that she has shown contrition, that she is contrite, she has apologized. Well, you would apologize for the things that are your fault, but then if you pivot and try to blame someone else, that's retraction of an apology as far as I'm concerned. Watch this first very awkward moment for little Miss Lauren Boebert.
But do you want to talk about the theater thing?
Sure. So, Kyle, I certainly have owned up to my night out in Denver. And, you know, I've gone on that public apology tour, and I'm grateful for the mercy and grace that has been shown. But I'm not going to continue to live life in shame and be beat up by this. And, you know, I would like to go back to my legislative record for just a second.
We're not going to do that. You had plenty of time to answer the question. You chose not to.
Sure.
That's fine. I just want to make sure.
I'll have more time.
And you have apologized for the theater incident.
I certainly have.
And I just want to make sure. Did you apologize for the behavior that went on with you and your date or the vaping?
Kyle,
or did you
apologize?
Or did you apologize for lying to voters about what you did that night and the disrespect that you showed to service workers that night? What specifically were you apologizing for?
I don't believe there was disrespect. There were things that were absolutely taken out of context.
There's video of your interactions with service workers. I'm asking,
right,
are you apologizing for the lying to voters
that I
or
flipped someone off, and I did not. So, I mean, I think it's been very mischaracterized. I'm apologizing for you, Kyle Clark, getting footage and releasing that. And people seeing this in a very private moment.
Certainly. It was very important to figure out whether you were telling the truth
you just had
or
an
whether a
interview
public
recently with
agency was
CityCast
lying about your conduct.
You just had an interview with CityCast Denver, and you were saying how disgusting it is to record someone without their knowledge.
Let's talk about the use of earmarks in Congress.
You did that very same thing and released it.
Sounds contrite, right? Sounds like she's regretful of it, or does it sound like she's trying to jettison blame away from herself and attach it to Kyle Clark, the anchor here, who, by the way, needs a national spotlight. This is a guy, if this is the kind of journalism he does on a regular basis, holding politicians' feet to the fire, this guy needs a broader platform. One, what you did wasn't in private. It wasn't a private moment. You were in a theater joined by hundreds and hundreds of other people, Lauren Boebert. Secondly, I'm apologizing for you, Kyle Clark, she says. I'm apologizing for you. Reporting on the misdeeds, the misadventures, the disrespect of politicians is the job of journalists. It's not their job to cover up for your mistakes, Lauren Boebert. Now, it is the least important of the clips that was talked about, or the clips I'm getting ready to play of the moments that were talked about. But it's important nonetheless. This next one is about Lauren Boebert, who is running across the state now, taking credit for infrastructure projects that were funded by the infrastructure bill that was pushed and put forward and passed by Democrats and Joe Biden. And many, almost all Republicans, period, voted against it. It passed narrowly, but it passed. And now you've got radicals in Congress running around acting like they had something to do, taking credit for these infrastructure projects. And she wasn't one of them. She did not. She voted against it. And now that it's coming to fruition and these projects are happening and helping the lives of people in Colorado, she wants credit for it. And it was addressed, again, expertly and professionally.
Let's talk about the use of earmarks in Congress.
You did that very same thing and released it to the world.
Members request funding for pet projects. That's what an earmark is. And some Republicans have rejected that process as like wasteful and corrupt and that kind of thing. Colorado's Republican Congressman, former Ken Buck, did not participate in earmarks. Retiring Republican Congressman Doug Lamborn did not use earmarks. Ms. Boebert, when you were elected to Congress, you said that earmarks were wasteful. You said they foster corruption. You said they're a way to buy votes. And then you decided to start using them, too. So let me ask all of you, show of hands, please. Will you participate in the earmark process if elected to Congress?
Absolutely.
That is a yes from Mr. Lynch.
It depends on next year's
Pardon me, please allow me to say these people's names, okay? Mr. Lynch, Mr. Holtorf, Mr. Sonnenberg. A no on earmarks from Mr. Yu.
It depends.
It depends from Ms. Flora. Okay. So I wanted to ask a follow-up question on the issue of earmarks, Ms. Boebert. You've repeatedly taken credit for projects in Colorado that you asked for funding for, but then you voted against the bill in the end. Bridge over the Roaring Fork River in Glenwood Springs, water treatment plant in Gunnison, I-70 interchange in Grand Junction. You're able to vote no and get the praise for voting no because you know that there are enough other Republicans who are willing to vote for those bills so they'll pass. My question for you is this, and just a short answer, it truly is a yes or no question. If you were the deciding vote, would you still have voted no and killed all of those projects in Colorado that you now take credit for?
Yes, and I would have worked for a process. I would have worked for a process to get those over the line, but I worked to get those in, and I have had over 80 initiatives signed into law through the appropriations process.
I appreciate the direct answer. Thank you very much.
Yes.
If you had been the deciding vote, would you still have voted no? She says, yes, I still would have voted no, but then inexplicably she says, but I would have worked through the process to get it over the line. What are you talking about, Lauren Boebert? Do you not understand what your job is? Do you not understand what a no vote does? What do you mean work within the process to get it over the line? What are you talking about? This is arrogance and incompetence on display of Republicans. Two things that you rarely see. The most famous version of it is Lloyd Christmas from the movie Dumb and Dumber, who is arrogant in his stupidity. It was before Dunning-Kruger was coined a term, and here we are. Lauren Boebert. Yes, I still would have voted no. Why are you taking credit for something you thought was so detrimental that you voted against it? Now it's not detrimental because it's happening and people's lives are enriched. The infrastructure of Colorado will be fundamentally changed for the better. You voted against it, Lauren Boebert. The voters of Colorado, they need to be paying attention to this because she is no good. And by the way, none of the options on the stage that night, none of them are good. They're all radicals, including this particular moment, this guy who's asking a question and touting his record as a state legislator, saying that I've had this many bills passed and signed by the governor. I understand how to work and get things done. How many of you, there was a moment where they were allowed to ask each other questions? He's not like some go-getter, get things done, middle of the road, working across the aisle Republican. He's a radical too, a bigot, and just the worst of the worst. But it's a poignant question. And the answer probably won't surprise you, but it should surprise anybody who holds Congress to account and has an expectation of them actually doing things other than creating chaos. Watch this moment.
Torf, you get a question to another candidate.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity, and I will take this time to ask a question. In my 5 years in the state house, I passed 38 bills signed by the governor in a majority Democrat House and General Assembly. I know what it means for a bill to be passed and signed by a governor or president. So for Ms. Boebert, how many bills did you prime sponsor? I said 38, I prime sponsored, not co-sponsor, because you can co-sponsor post facto. Anybody can put their name on a bill after it passes. How many bills did you prime sponsor in the U.S. Congress that actually were signed by the President of the United States?
So thank you so much, Richard. You know, it's interesting that you're touting the legislation that you have passed. You also say that you are a no-nonsense conservative. Well, I think the voters back home should know that a no-nonsense conservative should not have a failing Liberty score. We have the Independent Institute who scores representatives for their legislative record. And if you are not voting how you campaign, well, then you get a negative impact. And I'm the only person.
Would you like to answer the question, or would you like to talk about Liberty scores? You can answer the question, ma'am. It's okay.
Will. So,
I asked a very specific question. Please answer.
One of my favorite pieces of legislation that has been signed into law is my Pueblo Jobs Act that creates at least 1,000 jobs in Pueblo, Colorado. We worked to incorporate the BRAC process. So nearly $7 billion in infrastructure would not be bulldozed and go to waste. But there are also many other pieces of legislation that I've passed through the House. And
it doesn't matter if it's passed through the House. If the president doesn't sign it, ma'am,
government, and I'm not going to compromise my principles to just pass a bill that does not honor.
I would give you one more opportunity if you would like to answer his question, which is the number of bills you've prime sponsored that have been signed by the president.
So my Pueblo Jobs Act has been signed into law.
A number, please.
That is one.
Got it.
One bill. One single solitary bill that she originated, that she was the origin point on. One. Not two, not three. One bill. It's because her job in her mind isn't getting things done. It's not progress, and I don't mean from the perspective of progressivism. It's not, there's no progress with her. It is chaos and it is clout chasing. That's why she's there. That's why she switched to run in the 4th district from the 3rd district. It's all to enrich herself, to make herself more popular, more well-known. So when all this Congress nonsense is over, she can go and start a podcast or do what I do or whatever. And this is the Republican Party today. I love your opinion on this. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. You can also just leave a comment below. All that goes to show YouTube that there is engagement and interest in the content. If you want to help support this work, click the join button below. For $2 a month, you can become a channel member. You can go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. I'm on social media @Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. Go check out Garrison Hayes' book. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel, and I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.